Paradise Falls is a Silent Hill-inspired adventure game. Paradise Falls is the working title and will probably change as I have subsequently realised it's also the name of the place the old man is trying to get to in the movie Up. Now this game is being made in AGS, and AGS often reminds you to back up your game in case the file gets corrupted. I never do, and you'll never guess what happened. So whilst this game has been in development for a couple of years, most of that has been spent lamenting the loss of hours of work, begrudgingly redoing said work, or raising 2 kids. As a result, there have been many bugs and issues to iron out. Some of these issues remain, but the first act is mostly playable now. So I figured I might as well have a rethink whilst I'm adding in lines of code and making sure the objects and characters have the right names. So the whole opening the office was added, partly to introduce Dennis and partly as a tutorial. Dennis is a character who's obsessive compulsive. This is often depicted in movies and TV with hand washing or flicking lights on and off, or sometimes as being overly clean and tidy. However, it is actually a condition that involves intrusive and unwanted thoughts and some sort of ritual in order to cleanse them. Dennis's greatest fear is that he's becoming a monster. As the player instructs Dennis to commit acts of violence, it increases his anxiety level and changes his perception of reality. While some adventure game characters would react with indignation if they were asked to harm someone, except for the guy in X-Files who'll just do whatever you say.
Don't do that.
These concepts torment our protagonist. This will be important to solve certain puzzles, as you will need to either raise or lower his anxiety, which is visually indicated by his heartbeat GUI. In order to reduce his anxiety, Dennis's ritual is to clean the knife of what he perceives to be blood. Dennis is haunted by a girl in a white robe. She follows him when it is at his lowest and begins to believe that she is responsible for him losing his mind. On their way to Paradise Falls, Dennis has a vision that he's attacked his own daughter. It's his worst nightmare come true, only to discover that he never even picked her up in the first place. So who was in the car with him? Who left him these drawings? She tells him to come and find her in Paradise Falls. Later that evening she's found dead, and Dennis is left with doubts about whether he was responsible. 5 years later, he travels to Paradise Falls looking for her. The drawings, which have somehow become more detailed over time, act as clues. So is he really a monster? You'd have to be one of the 3 people who eventually play the game to find out. The town is deserted and flooded. It's sparsely populated with the characters who seem to be having their own issues, similar to the characters that James meets in Silent Hill 2. They're all living their own personal hell. The first real puzzle of the game is to help the cafe owner find 4 messages from her deceased husband. This telephone will become very useful. By doing so, she'll provide you with the boat keys to make your way into town. Again, raising and lowering Dennis's anxiety will be important, so looking for ways to make him commit violent acts will be part of the puzzle. The thing about making a horror game is that it's pretty depressing, especially when your main character is losing his mind. I much preferred making my first game, Ace King, which was a very silly game about a drunken poker player. Anyway, the next job for this game is to carry on with the artwork for the rest of the town, and to save time I'm thinking of doing lots of backgrounds all at once.